There are moments in life when you feel utterly alone, abandoned, and misunderstood. You look around and even the people who once seemed so close now feel distant. You pray, but the heavens feel silent. You wonder, why am I going through this? Why does it feel like God has placed me in a season of isolation? Let me tell you, this is not abandonment. It is preparation. It is not punishment. It is a divine process. God isolates you because He has something extraordinary in store for your life. Look at the stories in Scripture. Before David became king, he was alone in the wilderness, tending sheep. Before Joseph was exalted in Egypt, he was betrayed, sold into slavery, and left to rot in a prison. Even our Savior, before his ministry began, spent 40 days and nights in the wilderness. Each of these moments of isolation was not a time of despair, but a sacred season where God was refining, teaching, and preparing His chosen ones for a greater purpose. You see, isolation removes the distractions of the world. It strips away the noise, the opinions, and the influences that can cloud your vision. It's in those quiet, lonely places that you hear His voice most clearly. God whispers to your heart, speaks to your spirit, and molds your character. He teaches you lessons that can only be learned in solitude, patience, humility, trust. These are not built in the spotlight, but in the shadows where only you and God reside. And in this refining fire of solitude, the words of C.S. Lewis ring true. As he wrote in The Problem of Pain, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Isolation also reveals your true dependence. When the props are kicked out from under you and there's no one else to lean on, you learn to lean on Him. God becomes your anchor, your rock, and your fortress. This is where faith grows, not in comfort but in challenge, not in abundance but in the wilderness. God allows isolation to deepen your reliance on Him, to build a relationship so strong that no storm can shake it. Then isolation prepares you for the blessing to come. What God has planned for your life requires strength, wisdom, and resilience. The challenges you face in solitude are not there to break you, but to build you. They are the chisels in the hand of the master sculptor, shaping you into the person you need to be for the calling He has placed on your life. So if you find yourself in a season of isolation, do not despair. Lift your eyes to heaven and trust that God is working behind the scenes. The same God who called you into this season is faithful to bring you through it. Hold on to the promise that He is preparing you for blessings you cannot yet see. The God who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. Trust the process, because on the other side of isolation lies the fullness of His purpose for your life. The beauty of God's process is that even when you cannot see the outcome, He is already orchestrating every detail for your good. The isolation you feel is not without meaning. It is a sacred space where transformation takes place. It is in these moments that God refines your heart, chisels away pride, and builds in you the perseverance necessary for the journey ahead. He uses the quiet to bring clarity, the loneliness to bring dependence, and the waiting to cultivate trust. In isolation, God often reveals truths about ourselves that we could not see in the noise of life. He shows us areas that need healing, habits that need breaking, and fears that need surrendering. It is a time of revelation and pruning, not to harm us, but to prepare us for the weight of the blessings He has in store. Like a potter shaping clay, God's hands are upon you, molding you for His divine purpose. Remember, God's timing is perfect, even in the wilderness. It may feel like time is standing still, but every moment serves His purpose. He is never late, nor is He early. When the time is right, He will open the doors and you will step into the fullness of His plan. The isolation is not the end of the story. It is the chapter that prepares you for the next one. Trust that He is not only preparing the blessing for you, but preparing you for the blessing. In this season, do not despise the stillness. Use it to draw near to Him, to grow in faith, and to strengthen your relationship with the One who never leaves nor forsakes you. Lean into His promises, meditate on His word, and rest in the assurance that His ways are higher than yours. What may seem like a delay is often God's way of setting the stage for something far greater than you could imagine. And in this waiting, remember the words of C.S. Lewis in his book, Mere Christianity. I am sure that God keeps no one waiting unless He sees that it is good for him to wait. You may not understand the why of isolation right now, but one day you will look back and see how every piece fit together. You will see how the struggle shaped you, how the waiting matured you, and how the loneliness brought you closer to Him. Until that day, walk forward in faith, trusting that He is faithful to complete the work He has begun in you. Isolation is not an indication that God has forgotten you. Rather, it is a sign that He is focused on you. He sees your potential, your purpose, and the unique role you are meant to fulfill. To be set apart often means to walk a path that others cannot understand. It can feel lonely, but it is during these moments that God's presence becomes most evident. He draws near to the broken-hearted, to those who seek Him earnestly, and in that sacred solitude, He reminds you that you are never truly alone. God uses isolation to test your heart and refine your faith. It's easy to trust Him when everything is going well, but what about when the answers don't come quickly? Will you remain steadfast when the silence seems overwhelming? This is where true faith is forged, in the quiet moments when you choose to believe that He is working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it. This is where your spiritual roots grow deeper, anchoring you in His truth so that no storm can uproot you. In the waiting, God often whispers promises to your heart, promises of hope, restoration, and purpose. These whispers may seem faint, but they are powerful reminders that He is not finished with you. Hold on to those promises as tightly as you hold on to Him. Let them be the light that guides you through the darkest valleys, for His word never returns void. He is faithful to fulfill what He has spoken, and His plans for you are far greater than anything you could envision for yourself. Even in isolation, God is building your testimony. The struggles you endure today will one day become the stories that inspire others. The lessons you learn in the wilderness will equip you to lead others out of their own. God is not just preparing blessings for you. He is preparing you to be a blessing. Your life, refined and strengthened by the trials, will reflect His glory in ways that will impact the lives of those around you. Do not grow weary in this season, for every moment of isolation is a step closer to the fulfillment of His promise. Trust in His timing, rest in His love, and know that He is using even the quietest seasons to accomplish something extraordinary in your life. In this sacred stillness, God invites you to lean into Him like never before. It is here, away from the distractions of the world, that He whispers truths into your spirit that you would not have heard in the noise. These moments are precious, even if they feel heavy, because they are where intimacy with Him deepens. You begin to understand that His presence is enough, that His love sustains you even when everything else is stripped away. This revelation becomes the foundation of your faith, unshakable and immovable. There is also a pruning that happens in seasons of isolation. God removes the things that are not meant to go with you into your next chapter. It could be relationships, habits, or mindsets that no longer align with His purpose for your life. While the process may be painful, it is necessary. He is making room for the new things He has prepared for you, ensuring that you are not weighed down by what no longer serves you. Trust that every loss in this season is for a greater gain. And in this refining, let the words of C.S. Lewis in the Screwtape Letters remind you. Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. God's plans are often hidden from our immediate understanding, but they are always rooted in love. He sees what we cannot see, and He knows what we do not know. He isolates you not to harm you, but to heal you, to prepare you, and to strengthen you for what lies ahead. It is in the waiting that He builds resilience, in the solitude that He nurtures wisdom, and in the silence that He grows your trust in Him. Every moment is purposeful, even if it does not feel that way now. The isolation you experience is a refining fire. It burns away the impurities and leaves behind the pure gold of faith, character, and strength. You may not feel strong in the moment, but strength is being built within you. You may not see the blessings yet, but they are being prepared. Trust that God is working in ways beyond what you can comprehend. Keep walking forward even when the path feels uncertain, for He is with you every step of the way. As you journey through this time of isolation, remember that God is not only shaping your future, He is shaping you. The person you are becoming in this season is someone who can carry the weight of the blessings He has prepared. Growth often comes with discomfort, and transformation requires surrender. Each moment of waiting, each unanswered question, and each tear is part of a divine process to make you more like Him. This is not a setback. It is a setup for something far greater than you can imagine. God's ways are often beyond our understanding, but they are never without purpose. He sees every detail, every hidden corner of your heart, and He knows exactly what you need to fulfill His plan. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, trust that He is working behind the scenes. He is aligning circumstances, preparing opportunities, and moving hearts in ways you cannot see. Trust is built not in certainty, but in surrender, and this is what He asks of you in this moment, to trust Him fully and completely. In this season, you may feel the weight of solitude, but it is in this solitude that God is teaching you how to stand firm. The strength you gain here will be the strength you need to face the challenges of your calling. The lessons you learn now will equip you to navigate the blessings ahead with wisdom and grace. God is not just preparing you for a moment. He is preparing you for a lifetime of purpose. He is ensuring that when the doors open, you are ready to walk through them with confidence and faith. And in these moments of waiting, let the words of C.S. Lewis remind you. We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be. As you continue forward, do not let the silence discourage you. Let it refine you. Do not let the waiting weaken your resolve. Let it strengthen your faith. Every prayer you pray, every moment you spend in His presence, and every step you take in obedience brings you closer to the fulfillment of His promise. You may not see the full picture yet, but rest assured, the artist is at work, creating something beautiful out of every stroke and every detail. Trust Him, for He is faithful, and His plans for you are good. The path of isolation often feels like walking through a valley, but valleys are where growth happens. In these low places, where the noise of the world fades, God nurtures your spirit and builds within you a foundation that cannot be shaken. It is in these moments that He teaches you to rely on Him fully, to trust in His promises, and to rest in His unwavering love. You begin to understand that what feels like emptiness is actually the fertile soil where faith takes root and begins to flourish. Every tear you cry, every moment of doubt, and every prayer whispered in the silence is seen and heard by Him. Not a single experience in this season is wasted. God is weaving it all together into a masterpiece, even if the individual pieces seem chaotic and fragmented. He is not indifferent to your pain or your questions. He is with you, walking beside you, holding you up, and preparing you for what is to come. He knows the weight of the blessings He has planned, and He is ensuring that you are ready to carry them. This time is not just about waiting, it is about becoming someone who trusts God even when the path is unclear, becoming someone whose faith is stronger than fear, whose hope outlasts disappointment, and whose heart remains steadfast. It is about letting go of the things that cannot go with you into your next season and embracing the transformation that God is working within you. Every moment of refinement is drawing you closer to His purpose and to the person He created you to be. You may not understand why this season is necessary, but trust that it is part of something far greater than you can comprehend. The wilderness is not the end. It is a passageway to the promise. It is the place where God reveals His power and His faithfulness, where He shows you that His grace is sufficient and that His strength is made perfect in your weakness. Even in the moments when you feel lost, God is guiding you, shaping you, and preparing you for the blessings that await. Keep holding on, for His plans are worth every moment of the journey. In the end, the isolation you experience is not a sign of God's absence, but a testament to His profound love and purpose for your life. It is in the quiet, the waiting, and the solitude that He is shaping you, refining your character, and preparing you for the blessings ahead. Trust that every moment of silence, every season of waiting, is part of His perfect plan. He is not only working in your life, He is working through your life to accomplish something greater than you can imagine. Hold fast to His promises, knowing that the isolation you may feel today is the very place where your future blessings are being birthed. And when the time comes, you will step into a new season, ready to receive all that God has prepared for you. Keep your faith strong, for He who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it.